Hello, this is Veterans News, a production of the United Veterans Organization of Nassau County. My name is Ed Allman. I'd like to thank Altice USA for providing the training for our crew and for the use of their studio facilities here in Hauppauge. The show is broadcast on public access television. You can also catch Veterans News on YouTube. Just go to Veterans News UVO. I want to say hello to our viewers in both Nassau and Suffolk County. I also would like to thank our co-host, Sabrina Lacey, who is the former commander of the Suffolk County VFW. Welcome, Sabrina.
Thank you, Ed.
I'd like to thank our crew. On camera 1, Dean Santiago. On camera 2, Donald Caulfield. Our video director today is Beverly Allman, and our director is Robert Lane. And our floor manager and production expert is Pat Golino. By the way, if you'd like to ask me any question, what is that, Pat? You're cheering for yourself. Okay. By the way, if you'd like to ask me any question or have a comment about the show, or if you would like to become a member of our crew, just email me, please, at veteransnewsuvo@gmail.com. Our guest today is Lisa D'Agostino, who is the 106th Rescue Wing Air National Guard Airman and Family Readiness Program Manager. That's a big name. However, we'll talk to Lisa, our guest, in a few minutes. But first, let us remember some of the veterans who died recently. Ruth Rouser Alson of Lindenhurst served as a first lieutenant in the U.S. Army Nurses Corps during World War II. Anthony Peckerell of West Islip was in the U.S. Army, also in the Medical Corps. That was in 1958 and 1960. James Van Oist of Belterre was a Korean War veteran. Frank Silawoda was 101 years old. He fought at the Battle of the Bulge. He died in his nursing home in East Islip. Joseph Arth of Comac was also a veteran of the Battle of the Bulge. Bruce Lester of Baldwin served as a Navy lieutenant again during World War II. Steve Ellis of Hicksville was a U.S. Navy veteran. Francis McLaughlin of West Islip was a B-24 gunner in the South Pacific. Vincent Rankello of Brookhaven was an Army veteran of World War II. Casper Rena of Massapequa was a proud U.S. Army Air Corps veteran and a member of the American Legion. He also was a World War II veteran. Dominic Santos, I knew I'd have a problem with this name. Dominic Santonasto of Lindenhurst was an Army veteran who served in Germany just at the end of World War II. Raymond McGann of Woodside was a Navy veteran of World War II. And Frank Nostro of Lynbrook, who played football for the U.S. Marine Corps. Thomas Moody served in the U.S. Army, and he was from Garden City. Robert Snyder of Locust Valley was a Navy Seabee of the Vietnam War. And Arnold Hansen of East Northport was a proud World War II veteran. If you know a veteran who died recently and you would like the name mentioned on this part of the show, just email me, please, to veteransnewsuvo@gmail.com. That's the end of Veterans News. Now it's time for our guest. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, thank you so very much for having me.
Okay. Lisa, what is your very long title?
Exactly what it is, Airman and Family Readiness. So I take care of the airmen and their families. So as soon as they come in, when they're inquiring about joining the service, when they come in to talk to a recruiter, that's my first eyes on. I'm called to the recruiting office to say hello to the prospective service member and to greet their families and kind of sort of talk about the program and what we have to offer. So that's.
Can you tell me what the 106th is? Because I'm sure a lot of people watching the show have no idea.
But The 106 Rescue Wing is located in West Hampton Beach.
West Hampton Beach.
Yes, out east at Goreski Airport. And we have 2 aircrafts, the C-130s, which we're actually now going to our new J model, and our HH-60 Pave Hawk. We are
HH-60 Payhawk?
Pave Hawk.
Pave Hawk.
It must be my Brooklyn accent. I apologize.
What is a Pave Hawk?
Helicopter.
Helicopter.
Sorry.
Okay. While you're talking about the 106, can we show that picture on the screen? This is a photograph we have of the 106. This is your entire unit, isn't it?
Well, we're waiting for it.
It'll come on.
So when it does come up, it's a part of the unit.
Part
it's
of
a
the
part
unit.
of the unit, yes.
How much of a part?
Well, it's.
There we go.
Oh, we almost had it there.
There we go.
So yes, that is the 106 Rescue Wing right there. Everyone right there.
That's everyone.
Yes. And I don't know the exact date of that photo, but that would be a picture of the 106.
Okay. If you can just leave the photo up for a few minutes. What does the 106 do?
Well, the 106, part of their mission is search and recovery. We're a guard unit, which means that there's a federal mission and then there's a state mission. A federal mission is when the president activates the service members, and then there's the state mission where the governor then activates the service members, and that could be for natural disasters. When we had Katrina, and they go and they do their search and rescue to get folks out of harm's way.
All right, and in the picture they show 2 different types of airplanes there. The one in the center, that's a C-130?
That's our C-130, yes.
That's the larger of the 2.
Correct.
And
then on the side, those are our helicopters.
And that's what you have? Just those 2?
Well, not in that picture. Those are the 2 types of aircraft that we have.
Right.
How many? That's not showing all
right.
of them.
Right, I understand that.
Okay.
Okay. And the C-130, I understand, can carry one of the helicopters?
Well, it folds it up. I believe that it can, but it also transports our service members to different locations, whatever the missions are.
Right.
Our PJs, our pararescuemen, can also jump from the back of the aircraft when they're doing missions over the water.
Okay. So I understand it then that the governor has some control on the National Guard for a state mission?
For the Guard, yes.
And at the same time, the president can call on the National Guard?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes. And while they're being deployed, the servicemen, your
Okay.
position is to
If you
take
can
care
bring the
of those
picture
wives
back.
and the children.
The family, yes.
So tell us about the community that you have for the families while the serviceman is being deployed.
So I have to say, we're very lucky at the 106 Rescue Wing because I'm a one-person shop, but I don't do it alone. I have what we call our FRG, our Family Readiness Group, which are a group of volunteers, and they are made up of service members. They're made up of family members of our service members, community members, which are so essential to assisting me for what I do. So when I get that phone call from a family member saying, let's say the service member's deployed, and all of a sudden, you know what happens when as soon as they leave, something goes wrong in the house, or a car breaks down, they'll call me. Or if they're having an issue with, I don't know, with the insurance or anything like that, I can be that point person to take a little bit of that stress off so they don't have to go looking for it. I can a warm handoff to whatever they need,
Right.
and we take care of that.
Right now, the families are home, right? And with the guardsmen are working full time, so they are civilian during the day, and then once a week.
That's right.
Once a weekend.
That's the uniqueness.
One
yes.
weekend out of the month, they serve at
the guard duty at the base.
Yes.
Yes.
So when they're called up, are they already, the families already prepared? Because once they call up, become active duty personnel, right? Then the servicemen may lose their, they may lose, say, resources from work, so now they're active duty. How do they transition to being a full-time family? Serving in the military.
So you're saying when they come for that 1 week in a month, or when they're actually activated?
Activated. So say, for instance, my husband go off, and I'm here with the kids, and I had Empire for insurance, and my son or daughter gets sick. How does that transition?
But that's where they utilize my
Yes.
services. So, and let me just point out that my services are not only utilized when the service members are activated, I am available to them all the time. So even if they're at their civilian job and they're not activated, they're not at the base that 1 week in a month, they can still utilize services. And if they're looking for a resource, I should be that first phone call, on the civilian side that can assist with them. And I also will like to add is that just because I'm at the 106 Rescuing, I service any branch of service. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that I am available for any branch of service, any family member, and I can assist in any capacity that I can.
So that means you can help the Marines in Garden City
Yes.
and the Army?
They can reach out to me, yes. Any branch of
Okay.
service, Coast Guard.
And Coast Guard has a number of facilities on Long Island, don't
So
they?
there's several on the island.
Uh-huh.
And I will say, if I can share this, I'm a big proponent of the youth. So for the Coast Guard, they have what's called the U.S. Naval Sea Cadets, which I'm an instructor for, and we actually utilize one of the sites in Moriches, Center Moriches in where I am. And we drill 1 weekend a month, and it's the Theodore Roosevelt Division. We drill every third weekend of the month. Great opportunity for our youth. And then on the flip side, we also have the Civil Air Patrol, which also they meet once a week, and it's just great for our youth just to get that sense of our great country, and those are opportunities for our youth to be a part of as well.
Do you see a lot of the family members' children joining that particular?
Yeah, I do.
Right?
It's
So so you get a chance to see them starting from the little.
Yeah,
and then grow
it's
up.
amazing.
And some of them will join the military.
It's
maybe,
so funny
right?
you should say that, because
Yes.
some of the youth that actually did join the Civil Air Patrol and or the Naval Sea Cadets,
Right.
they're actually service members now. And
Oh.
it's so funny that I see them, I look at them in uniform, and it's amazing. It's just great. So.
Well, you do a lot of stuff, Lisa. I've known you for quite some time now, and I don't know how you keep yourself together. Let the viewers know how your family is, because I'm inspired by your husband and your children. Just give us some information back.
Well, I've been a military spouse for 29 years. June will be 29 years. We have 5 children. When I first actually, it's funny because I shared this with you earlier. I met my husband on his civilian job. He was conductor on the railroad. He took my ticket, and then we've been together ever since. So that's how we started off. And there's one thing I also want to share. Kids are so funny. They tell their dad, "Hey, Dad, don't you wish you would have took off that day for work?" But anyway, separate and aside, yes. So when I met my husband, he was in the Army Reserves. He was at the 423rd MP Company, which used to be in Uniondale.
Right.
And that's how we met. And then I became a volunteer with the FRG, the Family Readiness Group.
Well, how long you been doing that?
On the volunteer side,
Yeah.
I've always done it on the volunteer side before I actually started
How
this
many years
position.
is that
Oh
about?
my gosh.
Oh, that's a long
Yes.
time.
So we have 5 kids. We have actually have a daughter that's in the unit. She actually was active duty Navy for 4 years. She did a Westpac tour. And now she's a paralegal at the 106 Rescuing. My husband just retired as a senior master sergeant with the 106 Rescuing 2 years ago. So, and then we have a son that's out Norwich University. He got an Air Force ROTC scholarship. So he just contracted, and then he's going to be commissioned in 2 years and get his active duty location. And then my little guy, I'm an instructor for the U.S. Naval Sea Cadets. So I put on that Navy uniform. I do bring the poof down.
I wish we had that picture.
But, yeah. So, but I didn't as a career put on the uniform, but what I do is a passion, and this is what I do to give back for all of the uniformed members and our families.
Well, I want to say to the viewers, and like I said to you, Ed, and all the veterans out there, all right, the families, the wives are the backbone, because we're the ones that iron the shirts and the ties and making sure they go and making sure they all know that we're holding it down while they're gone.
Absolutely.
I was also a military wife in the military, so I can pretty much contain. But I cannot
Absolutely.
understand how you do all this. and you keep it going, and you volunteer, and you take care of household and so forth.
You know, it's a passion. But then again, I don't do it alone. I do it with the community. I do it with the volunteers. I do it with my wing. I do it with my counterparts. So it's a whole team effort. So, you know,
Can I
I'm
ask
never
you,
alone.
What exactly do you do? What does your day look like?
That can
Or is
change
it-
from day to day. We're in, you know, I work
what I
for a
thought.
military installation, so my day to day is never, I always have a to-do list.
Right.
So
Okay.
that to-do list, at the end of the day, maybe I'll have 2 things checked off. Airmen can come into my office. I have an open door policy. You don't need an appointment to come see me. Airmen, I can get a telephone call from a family member. There are different day-to-day activities that come up unexpectedly. So an airman can come in and talk to me about whatever is going on with them at that point in time, and they can be in my office for 2 hours. And whatever, they just don't come in. I make sure that we
Right.
have a plan. Okay, what are we going to do? Let's map it out. What are we going to do? What am I going to do to try to help them? And then we plan it out. So we map it all out. But day-to-day activities, it's really hard to say because no 2 days are alike.
Yes. You explained to us earlier that you had to travel a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your Hawaii trip.
Oh, that's when my daughter was coming back from her Westpac deployment. My husband and I had to go to Hawaii and spend a couple of days. But, you know, you got to do what you have to do. But we were very fortunate enough to take part in what is called the Tiger Cruise with the Navy. And that means when a warship is coming back, before they get to home station, they dock and X amount of sailors get off, and that's how we were able to go on. But and it's paperwork. It's not that simple. You just wait. There was paperwork involved, but we were so lucky enough to be able to be on that warship for 7 days. So we went from Hawaii to San Diego for the welcome home, and it was, for me as a civilian, an unbelievable experience to be a part of that. So it was great. It was probably one of the biggest highlights of me, you know, aside from having my children, that is, but that was very special to see those Navy folks doing what they do, the service members.
And how old did you say your youngest one was?
He's 15.
15,
Yeah,
okay.
so yeah.
What
we
is
have-
he interested in doing? He's going to go and protect our country?
Well, he's actually, I'm his instructor, or one of his instructors for the U.S. Naval Sea Cadets. So he's looking at doing, he wants to go into the Navy.
Oh,
Yeah,
congratulations.
So yeah, we're a big Navy, we're a big military family. So, and again, I just want to put out there again, is that if any service member, veteran, you define veteran, I don't define. You put that uniform on, my services are available to you. And the families, please, if there's anything, and you may not think that I'm the right person to ask, start with me. Let me walk you through it and get you what you need.
And I can contest to that. And Ed, I'm going to tell you something. One thing that a family need is some R&R time. And when you have these type of programs like Lisa's been doing for years and the resource, it makes it a little bit easier for the family. You also stated that there's an event that's coming up that will help those families if they want to come out and bring their families to the event.
Oh, the event that I'm doing
Yes.
in April. Just so you all know that April is an official DoD, Department of Defense, recognized month of the military child. So we're actually doing, it's an annual event that we do. It's month of the military child spring fling, and we're having this event in Yaphank at the Suffolk County Farm. You do need to register, however. So if on the website, which you'll see at the end,
Yes.
you go on that website, you'll be able to find the registration form, and it's for any branch of service, retired, active, and it's just a fun-filled day that, you know, just giving back and saying thank you for everything that you do as a family, supporting the service members, because without that backbone of that stable family, or
Yes.
if those families don't know that they have support or someone or resources to go to, that service member can't go out that door and do their mission when they put that uniform on.
Yes, to service our nation and some other
Absolutely.
nations as well nowadays.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Where and when are you having this family day?
It's the month of the military child spring fling, and that's going to be April 28th. It's a Sunday.
Okay.
And it's from 10 to 1 at the Suffolk County Farm at Yaphank. And again, you have to register, so at the end, you'll see the website, or just call me up and I'll send you a registration form, so.
Oh,
yeah.
great.
Good. They can call you up at 631-723-7133, right?
Yes, sir, that's the
Okay.
base number, or I have my cell phone, which is always with me, and that number is 631-513-6211.
Lisa, when I was called up a couple of years ago and I was living out here and I had to go to the city and I had to get ID cards for my kids. That was a
Good
lot of years
question,
ago.
yeah.
I'm guess about 2001. I went out there to the 106. Can you tell me a little bit how has it changed since 2001? I haven't been out
You
there
can still
since.
go out there and make an appointment. You have to make an appointment, and any veteran, retiree, dependent, you can get your ID cards at the 106 Rescuing. Also, we have a small BX, but you have to have a current military ID to gain access onto the installation. But yeah, we are one of those posts that you can actually come and get your military ID.
And you said there's a couple of other ones in our area.
I believe there was, we had met Garden City.
Garden City
Yeah.
has a big one as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
but out east, we're a facility that does do the military ID cards and dependent cards.
And with New York State, you said there's about 4 other wings
Yeah, in
within
the
our
state
area?
of New York, we have a total of 5 Air National Guard wings. The 106 Rescue Wing is the only one that's downstate. The other 4 are upstate. We have the 105th in Newburgh. We have the 109th in Scotia. We have the 174th in Syracuse. And then we have the 107th that's located in Niagara Falls.
Yes. And have you noticed that sometimes with the servicemen, they can be living here, but they're serving in Syracuse or somewhere?
Absolutely.
Have you ran across that?
Yes. My counterparts a few times have called me up or sent me an email saying, hey, Lisa, one of my service members lives in your area. He or she is currently deployed, and the wife is, or the spouse is, or family member is looking for this resource. Can you help them? So that's the great thing about, being able to service any branch of service or even another Air National Guard. And I've received phone calls from out-of-state counterparts that may have an airman that live in my area or a family member that may be in my area, which we can also provide assistance to.
Oh, that's
So
great.
when you talk about one big
Yes.
community of service,
Yes. I like to make sure, and Ed as well, we want to make sure that the viewers know that when a service member or their family member is traveling, whether it be overseas or to another state, and they get in a situation where they don't have any funds or anything, we have these opportunities, we have these different people and resources that will help them. I found one on Christmas that was sitting out there, and he had just came to visit someone, and it didn't work out too well. And I knew that I had one, I think there's another Lisa in Farmingdale. And I contacted her, and we hooked him up with something, and we provided some resources for him. So now that I know that we have someone here, and the viewers know that, they can reach out to you and some other VFWs or American Legions if the veteran have a situation where they need some kind of assistance quickly.
right, and if I'm not the person that can help them, let me find the person or organization that can help you. I don't, sometimes folks just give information out. No, I will find that for you rather than just, they're stressed out enough. There's so many things going on. Let me do the legwork.
Right. When you have resources like this, they're not going to give you a card and
Right.
tell you to call someone else, so
Right.
someone's going to tell you to call someone else. No,
Right,
it's
right.
not that way.
No, we're going
And-
to do a warm handoff. The resource that you get, we're going to know that resource is going to help you. So.
You've been in this area for a long time, taking care of families. The question I have from you, from when you first started to where we are now, have you seen a improvement of the way the government is helping our veterans now?
When I first started to where we are now.
Before you start, from where Ed came from,
Right.
Oh,
okay?
No, there was nothing like this. I was in from 68 to 71, and we did not have a family readiness person or anything like you. In fact, the CO, the man in charge of me, told me this had to be done, and that's what we did. But now they have something new.
Yes, and even from when I started back in 2004 in this position to where we are now, the way it evolved, it's unbelievable. And I want to say that even the VFWs are a part of our community. I mean, I tap into the VFWs for resources as well. So the way it's just a great thing to what's out there now as to what you didn't have then. But it's amazing and it's a beautiful thing.
And the
So-
reason why, Ed, we have this is because of you.
Absolutely.
And the viewers out there,
Yes.
the Vietnam veterans, the World War II veterans, and I have to give them their play because if it wasn't for you, without no resources and not no money or anything, building these VFWs, American Legions, AMVETS, DAV, I can go on and on. Lisa wouldn't be sitting here and I wouldn't be sitting here. I commend you, Ed, for continuing to volunteer and to sit here. And we
Yes.
need to say that because there's a lot of people out there. You have people, you need more people to volunteer for your program and as well as the other programs. And if we don't come out and volunteer, these programs are not going to be rich enough to take
Right.
care of anything that may happen in the future. Am I right,
Absolutely.
Lisa?
Absolutely. There are so many resources out there, too many to go over now, but we have resources that are peer-to-peer resources for our service members who need to talk to someone
Peer-to-peer?
peer-to-peer. So whether it's a service member, whether they're retired, but it's another service member talking to another service member
Right.
because that's the bonds, that's the link where you can understand.
You would have called it a buddy back
Oh,
then.
a battle buddy.
Your
or
battle
something.
buddy.
Right.
So right now,
exactly. So-
sometimes they don't serve together. You may go to Georgia, and then you get there, and they say, "Well, you're going to Hawaii, and you're going to Iraq or Afghanistan."
Right.
So your buddy is separated. So now, Lisa could be in that town and say, "Well, I'm here by myself. What do? I don't have no battle buddy." She can refer them to another soldier member that's or a civilian,
Right.
retired one or whatever that have served.
Exactly. And one of the organizations is the Joseph Dwyer Project,
Right.
which has that peer-to-peer program, which is unbelievable. They even have it for family members as well. So,
Right.
so it's service member to
Oh.
service members and family members. Because sometimes with a family member and a service member, they're not on the same page. They're feeling different things. So
Yes.
that's why if you can
Yeah.
have a military family member talk to another military family member because they get it. Where me talking to sometimes to my husband when he would come back from a deployment, I wasn't there with him. He needed to speak. He would need to speak to someone who was in the uniform, who knew what it was like going over. So that's why it's important, the peer-to-peer
Yeah.
piece as well. And
Yeah,
there are
we're going to have
resources.
somebody on the show next month or possibly the month later who is very familiar with the peer-to-peer and with the Dwyer
Beautiful.
That's great.
Foundation.
And all these programs are coming together because of volunteers. And Suffolk County is doing an outstanding job with their veterans. I guess we're the second largest in the nation. Is that
I think you're the
Yes.
first.
first?
Maybe
I
the
think
second.
California or someone. Well, somatics, okay? Whatever, we're doing an outstanding job. I just want to reach out to the veterans and let the younger ones know that if they travel somewhere, everybody's not going to give you this fuzzy love that we got in Suffolk County.
Yeah.
All right, it's a unique place to be because I'm traveling around, I'm seeing
Yeah.
different. It's not all over.
Lisa,
so they need
we
to know
only
that,
have
Lisa.
a minute left, so if you have anything you want to say, please say it now.
Yes.
As I said, I really wanted to hone in. My information you'll see at the end of the show to please jot it down, to keep it with you. If you know of a service member that needs a resource, please give them my contact information. I'm here for any branch of service, any family member. We're one big family, so anything. Services are out there for all. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me here. It was a privilege, and thank you for your service, and thank you for your service. And this is why it's because of you all why I do what I do. So
Yes.
thank you.
And when you go back, would you tell your family, we said thank you for protecting our families.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Is there anyone else that does your line of work in any other service?
So for the air guard side of the house, there's one of me
Right.
at every wing, and there's 91 wings across the United States. And for the Army side of the house, there's one of me, but it's in a different. They're a contractor. So we are federal side of the house for the air and the Army. But there is one of me at every wing. There's one of me on the Army side of the house too, and we work together as one
Okay.
big family. So.
We have the information is up on the screen. Thank you very much, Lisa.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And Lisa, make sure you go back and you tell everybody at the 106, we say thank you for their service and protecting
Absolutely.
our nation. And we feel well protected here in Suffolk County, New York.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. That's a wrap.